Okay, thank you. So, ability to handle stress. As an individual, we possess some stress. We are not able to manage things. Then, how much of stress will be tackled by a person who is in the responsibility to manage so many activities, manage so many people, manage so many tasks? So he will be put on more stress. A project manager, he is put under so much stress. He need to definitely manage stress. Like once if he handles stress only, he'll be able to continue his progress, or he'll be able to monitor what the activities are going, and how the people are performing. All those things will be monitored. So he should not get panic, and he should remain unruffled and able to cope with constantly changing conditions. So one day things will be smooth, one day it will be very hectic. We'll be running on our target. We have to finish our construction activities on that particular day, because the next day we'll be having certain new operations where you already got your machineries done there. So you have to pay the rent, or probably you might have hired it. You have to pay the labor charges. So all those things are occurring. So you should be having a constant changing condition. So based upon that particular situation, you should be able to handle things. You should act as a buffer between the project team as well as the customer or the upper management. So he should be a smooth cement space, or the binding pace, nothing but a binder between the top level and the bottom level labors. So you have the low level labors as well as your teams, employees teams, as well as the upper management is nothing but your directors, managing directors, and your boss. You have so many upper management. He should be a buffer between them. Should literally like if there is any problem, he should be the one to communicate that problem. He should be taking that problem to the upper management. Have a good sense of humor. Stress is likely to be high when a project is in jeopardy of not meeting its objective. When we have an task or a target is we should hand over the key to our customer by Jan 30. If we are not able to do, so the stress will be put on high, because all the departments will be working very hard to meet up the target. If we are not able to meet up the target, then he will be put on high stress, because the customers from the public will be communicating him, requesting for the handovering of the key, and there'll be so much of stress put on him, because he has to manage the office work as well as the customer work. So he'll be so much stressed. Next is problem solving skills. He should be able to tackle problems. If there is going to be any new type of problem, he should be identify what type of problem is actually occurring and how it could be rectified. If it is going to be a usual problem, or if it is occurring some yearly, or if it is frequently occurring, then he'll be having a set of database which where the informations you have all the data and the informations available from your previous history. You have some past informations. Based upon the past information, if problem A arises, you can identify, okay, what solution or which method can be adopted to rectify it. So you have so many problem solving, methodologies to solve the problem, and he should possess this problem solving skills. Only then he'll be able to react to the problem and rectify it. Early identification of a problem or a potential problem is important. Encourage project team members to identify problems early and solve them on their own. So he's providing you an opportunity. If you people who are 4 or 5 working under a manager, if you are having your own level of problem, like he is giving you an opportunity to solve the problem by your own. If you're not able to, then you can move on to him. You can get the solutions or the opinion from him, and you try to rectify the problem. So he is going to provide you an opportunity to solve the problem as well. Time management skills. So it is going to be the construction project manager where he should stick on time, because our construction industry is purely based upon time as the main dependent factor, where we should meet all our activities on time. If you're not going to do it on time, then our maybe a financial status or all those things are going to be delayed or dragged to come to meet up the end of the activity. Have self discipline, be able to prioritize, show a willingness to grow overall connectivity. Am I audible?
And the voice is not clear.
I'm not clear. I'm connected to the LAN network from the department only. I don't know what is the issue. Am I clear now? Still, is there a break?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, time management skills, have self-discipline. So he should come on time to the office. He should manage his timely routine. Only then, people will start sticking on time. People who are working under him will be following that same methodology to sticking on the time and completing the tasks or the activities assigned to them on time. And able to prioritize. If there is so many certain number of activities to be carried on that single day, he'll be there to prioritize which work should be done. So giving the first priority, if it is going to be the activity A is more important and it should be done immediately, he'll be prioritizing and he'll be carrying over his work. Show willingness to delegate, developing the skills needed to be a project manager. So, if you are newly recruited, you are into a team, directly you will not be assigned the project manager. You will maybe your assistant manager or you'll be first you'll be in the trainee session, then you'll be taken to your assistant manager. Only then you'll be getting step by step. So, if you want to be a project manager, then you need to gain experience. So, you should know what are the construction activities are going to take place in your firm. A to Z, you should know the hierarchy of the activities. Only then you will be able to know which team is going to do which work. So you can categorize, okay, design team, this team is going to do, and when it is going to be execution team. So you have so many engineers there. You have your engineer, executive engineer, your assistant engineer, and your supervisor, the work site. You have certain teams there. So you'll be able to identify which number of activities, the categories of activities will be performed by which persons. So you have to gain experience for that. Gain experience, work on as many as project you can. So working on multiple projects, you will be gaining more knowledge about each and every project. The positives and the negatives of the project you will be able to analyze. So if it is going to be negative, you can try to learn how to solve that so that such problems doesn't occur in the near future. Each project represents a learning opportunity. Seek out feedback from others. So once you're done with the project, you have to collect the feedback for the project. Only then you will be able to know in which track you're going on. Right. If there is any ups and downs, definitely there'll be ups and downs. You can rectify the downs. You can try to work on it a little hard, and you can develop yourselves. Conduct a self-evaluation and learn from your mistakes. So you have to conduct a self-evaluation. You have to evaluate yourself. So today I have so many things to do. Finally, I have in the end of the day I have to track whether I am performing all my activities. That activity should be performed in a very qualitative manner. It should be very good. It should be satisfying both the organization as well as myself. If I am working there, I should get a job satisfaction. Only then I'll be able to self-evaluate myself. If I am doing any mistakes, I can identify where I am going wrong or where I am lagging, and how could I rectify it. Interview project managers who have skills that you want to develop. So you have so many senior project managers globally. You can contact them. You can have a conversation or you can chat with them. You can have an interview. Like you can gain knowledge from their interaction. Participate in training programs and join organizations such as project management institutes. Like once you're joining into some project management institutes, you'll be knowing what is actually happening and how you can work or how you can develop your managerial skills. Read and subscribe to journals. Volunteer and contribute to the community or a specific cause to develop the leadership skills. So you are here as a project manager. You have to develop yourselves. Finally, you have to become the leader. So you're going to develop yourself, develop the leadership skills within yourself. Learning and development are lifetime activities. There is no finish line. Next topic is public relations. So here, as a project manager, you are exposed to your firm as well as the persons working in your firm as well as to the public. How you are going to interact with them, or how you are going to tackle or balance both the sides, both your public relations as well as your firms. So, public relations is nothing but a planned process to influence public opinion, to through sound character and proper performance based on mutually satisfactory two-way communication. So it is going to be a two-way communication. So simply, you're working in a firm, your firm is organizing some offers or some activities that you'll be taking out to the public, the media, or the people. You'll be exposing the activities taken by your firm, and the people will be reacting to it. They'll be communicating. That also you have to carry on and respond to your organization. So it can also be defined simply as a practice of managing communication between an organization and its public. Who's in organization here? So you will be having our upper level management and our lower level management. So this is going to be upper level, lower level, mid level. You have all different classifications. That is nothing. Simply you can tell it as an organization chart. You have this chart. Meanwhile, you have our customers here. So you have to like you'll be collecting the requirements of the customer and you'll be dropping that to your entire organization. You have to communicate both as well as to the upper level as well as to the low level. You will be communicating what are the needs and what are the objectives of the customer, what they actually require, and what has been what they received and what are the feedbacks. Whether it is going to be a positive feedback, also you have to report, and negative also you should definitely report. Even if it is okay not to give the positive also, but you should definitely give the negative feedback. Only then you will be able to rectify which department is not performing well. So you have the functions, advantages, and disadvantages. So functions of a public relations. So what is meant by public relation? We saw what is meant by public relation. Like the manager, he should be communicating to the all level and both public and as well as the organization, and he should promote goodwill through his surroundings, through his work team or the entire team where he is more responsible, promoting the product, service, and corporate image. He has a marketing team as well. He should encourage them to promote the product, service, and they should build the corporate image. Corporate communications, lobbying, counteracting negative publicity, and advantages is nothing but getting the credibility, cost, avoidance of clutter, ability to reach specific groups. If it is going to be a low income group or a middle income group, whichever type of category of people, so you can reach them easily. They'll be it is only the manager who's going to be more reachable than any person in the firm. And image buildability, so your image as a manager from the firm will be automatically developed. And disadvantages, difficult to quantify PR benefits, lack of control. So you should have a control on the way you are working. If you don't have the control, or if you're getting any negative feedback or negative publicity, that also will be damaging your image or your name. So, uses of PR, customer complaints and redresses. It is an opportunity to cement or bind the relationships between the customer, possesses an important role in the service and hospitality industry. So you should like your entire organization is working on to develop a very good quality product, and you have to take that product to the customers, and you will be giving an opportunity for them to experience it. Once after experiencing, they'll be dropping their suggestions whether it is good or what, or if they have any complaints, that also you will be carrying out toward your organization. And combating rumors or falsehoods, confront and disclose facts in leading media, give the positive side of the story, do not give the negative side. Capitalize on rumor to your benefit. Rumor can be dismissed or like you can simply you can rectify, you can ignore it. So leadership. So till now we have seen what is a project manager. Now we'll be seeing leader. So who's the leader? What are the leadership? What are the ability a leadership possesses? So, leader is nothing but a person who's going to lead by managing a number of activities, managing the activities and the people working in that particular activity. Leadership is the integral part of management and plays a vital role in managerial operation. Leadership exists in any type of organization. So, whatever may be the organization, irrespective of construction or electrical or whatever may be the type of organization, you have a leader over there. If there is any single factor, the difference between the successful and unsuccessful organization, it could be considered as a dynamic and effective leadership. So we have a successful and unsuccessful organization. Under both construction industries, people are working. People are working. People are doing projects. They are surrendering all their products or their construction sites. They're delivering it to their customers. How one is becoming successful and how other is becoming unsuccessful. It is the one major difference is the dynamic and effective leadership. Once you have a proper leader in your firm who's monitoring all the activities, tracking all your progress, providing you timely feedback, and encouraging you, like once you're working as an individual, once you are working, you completed your task in a good job, chain appraisal manager or on your next project in a
Ma'am, your
more
voice is
positive manner.
breaking.
My voice breaking again.
Yes, ma'am. Too much.
Is it okay now? Is it again breaking?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now is it okay? My God. Is it okay now? Am I audible or am I breaking again?
Ma'am, your voice, ma'am. Just hold on for a second. Yeah. Okay. Am I audible now? Is my voice clear? Only then let me proceed. Is my voice clear? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. So let me share my calendar. Sorry for this. I am in the department only right now, but I don't know why I'm getting this network issues. Okay. So a leadership, we'll be starting with the leadership. Yeah, we saw the only difference is the dynamic and effective leadership. So if a firm is having a dynamic and effective leader there to monitor all your progress, then your organization will be running in a successful manner. Then leadership is a process within groups in which one person, either by virtue of his position or personality or both, obtains sufficient commitments of the other members to facilitate the achievements of group goals. So you have one goal, you have an organizational goal. Individually, you have so many number of groups. You have your structure group, you have your execution, you have your planning, you have your finance, you have your marketing. So purchase department. So you have a number of groups under your construction activities. So you have a leader to monitor or progress, or like he'll be monitoring your progress, as well as if any team or department is lagging, he'll be there to give them suggestions and improvise them, and he'll take all the team together towards attaining the goal. So leaders are either natural or developed. Natural is nothing but the born leaders, developed are brought up leaders. Only individuals may not require leaders, but teams mostly require leaders. So if it is going to be individual, then you will be in the individual level employee only. It is going to be a team. So you have a number of 124, you have CRs. So similarly, you have so many teams where you will be requiring definitely a leader. That leader will take you in front, telling, like, projecting all your progress, your activities like which you have completed towards your goal of the particular team, and the target within which you will be completing all your activities, the financial status, all those things he will be letting the others know. So else, like a chariot stunned by its horses, each trying to turn. If you don't have a leader, what will happen? So you have a chariot running with horses. So both the horse will go in different direction. So like you have someone there to control it and take it in the right direction. So that is nothing but our leader, where he is going to bring all together in the focusing on the organizational goals. And without him, the teams will not be progressing. Leader should lead by example, do himself as well as make others do. He should work as well as he should ask others also to work. Leader should be democratic, not dictator. He's not going to be a dictator when it comes to an organization. He's going to be democratic. Leader should discuss with other members of the group, make final decision upon it. So though he'll be having a discussion with the other groups, but the decision will be his own risk only. He will be more responsible for taking the decision. Groups need leaders, and leaders need followers. Leadership is a dynamic process at work in a group where one individual, over a particular period of time and in a particular organizational context, influences the other group members to commit themselves freely to achieve the goal. So, though he is also working, he'll be influencing the other group members also to stick on to their target, to finish their activities, and to reach the goal. Meaning and definition of leadership. Leadership is a process of influencing the behavior of others towards that accomplishment of goal is in a given situation. Leadership is the activity of influencing people to strive willingly to achieve the group objectives. So it's not like forcing someone. Forcing is different, and like you are giving space to your employees or your team members, and like you are providing you an opportunity for them to work willingly, so that they'll work very in an interested manner, and they'll complete your task. Leadership is essentially a continuous process of influencing behavior. It is a psychological process. It is exercised in a particular situation at a given point of time under given circumstances. So you have so many situations where you'll be having any problem in your work site, where you have a team or a leader to tell you what to do. In that time, he'll be there to give you the suggestions, and he'll be there to take you people in the right direction. Leadership effectiveness or success refers to the performance that leads to, like, how when he is going to be effective or when he'll be succeeding is nothing but when the entire organizational goals are getting achieved, his entire team is getting like when they are reaching their target within the specified time, when the final product is ready with a good customer feedback. In that situations, the leadership goes more effective and success. Had high degree of commitment of those goals by the group, a high level of group member satisfaction. It's not only by individual job satisfaction. If you are working in a team, you're performing better, you'll be having job satisfaction. The entire group members are working. When their level is reaching up high, then the entire group members will be satisfied. Finally, leadership is not simply selecting this or that, but balancing a number of key factors. Those key factors are nothing but the task nature, depending upon the nature and the type of the activities, the group composition, degree of authority available, and to achieve the goal. So there are so many key factors to achieve the goal. He is focusing on all the key factors. So we saw about the manager and the nature of manager, what are the eligibilities or the responsibilities he will be carrying over. Similarly, here we are going to see about the leader. So nature of leadership. Leadership is a relation between two or more people in which influence and power are unevenly distributed. Leadership must have followers. If the leadership does not have followers, he cannot exercise his duty. If you're like, if I'm instructing something through your CRs, if you're not following your CRs, then he'll not be able to perform it properly, because unless you cooperate only, he or she will be able to perform. So you people there should be supporting them. So, like you have any problem, you can let them know. If you need, so simply I'll tell you an example. If you have any vacation period, so CS will be like insisting the faculty is requesting for them. Ma'am, Friday we don't want class, ma'am. Please, ma'am. Our faculty, students are requesting, ma'am. Please, ma'am, you come up. Yes, CS will be there putting the voice for you people. Similarly, because you people are the followers, maybe I don't know you, I don't know whether you people will be the followers, but you will be following them regularly for skipping your assignments or postponing your CTs or your quiz or your assignments for this. Definitely, you'll be the greatest followers of your CR. But nowadays, I think people are like literally blackmailing. If you will tell ma'am or not, she must definitely postpone this exam. See, people have become like this, no? Like postponing, like using the leadership in this way. The leadership variables. So we have key leadership variables. Nothing but the leader attributes, nature of the task, organizational culture, nature of the team. So this all are going to be interconnected. But we'll see what are the leadership qualities. Nothing but planning. A leader should have the ability to how to plan, control things, manage people, support, how to support others, informing, evaluating. If there is going to be any event or any thing is taking accident is taking place, that will be the leader will be there to inform me that this has happened and this event is going to be happen in the future. He'll be letting you, he'll be informing you, and based upon the progress of your work, he'll be evaluating whether which team is performing good and which team is actually lagging. Leadership skills. So in the leadership skills, so as frequently repeated through our manager, we have a certain list of leadership skills. And with this communication, motivation, delegation, positivity, trustworthiness. So if I am comfortable with my leader only, I can proceed. If he is more trustworthy, only can go tell this is my issue. You can like get me rectified. And creativity, he should have some creative knowledge, only then he'll be able to solve the problems. Feedback, responsibility, commitment. Definitely, your leaders must possess commitment. Like once they are committed to their work only, they'll be easily able to manage you people as well as your maybe your upper management. And flexibility, they should be more flexible. If a leader is not flexible, imagine if your CR is not flexible. If they are very strict, what you will do? That's all. You literally scold them, or like you go complain against them. So if they are flexible, only you will be able to communicate. Like you will be able to tell what problem you are having and why you are not able to attend the class or the meeting or any assignment. So you can literally speak up with them. Importance of leadership. Leadership is an important factor for making any type of organization successful. Motivating the employees. So whether it may be the low level or the middle level employees, you can definitely motivate them. Nothing wrong in appreciating your work and giving some good words for them to work better. Leadership develops teamwork. So when it's going to be a team, you need some people to monitor. I told you actually. So that person who's going to monitor is going to be your leader. Better utilization of manpower. So he'll be having the knowledge of how to use the manpower. He'll be tracking which person is working at which field and who's performing better, and he'll be utilizing that manpower properly. Creating confidence to the followers, directing group activities, building moral, maintaining discipline. So, motivating the employees. Motivation is an important factor for attaining the goals. Higher the motivation, better would be the performance. That is true. If the leaders are motivating the employees in a very good manner, definitely the employees will be highly motivated. They'll be more interested to work. They'll have some confidence that okay, someone is there at the backbone of me, supporting me. Like whenever I'm down, I have some person to cheer me up. So they'll have some confidence. They'll have some trust on you. A good leader motivates employees for higher performance. Leadership develops teamwork. The three vital determinants of teamwork are the leader, subordinates, and the entire environment. These are the three factors. These factors are going to be independent factors. The leader should make the environment to work efficiently. Better utilization of manpower. Which what are the activities are going to take place in your organization. You know what are the regulations or the rules or the policies you have, so you can explain them to the manpower and you can get the works done easily. So you can literally tell them like if you're doing this on time, you will be even more successful than your other team members, and you will be easily, your knowledge will be easily appreciated, and you'll be gaining more of promotions or appraisals. So a leader implements the plan, policies, and program for organization to utilize the available manpower effectively and gets the highest production with the minimum human cost. Creating confidence to the followers. A good leader may create confidence in his followers by directing them, giving them advice. Like it's not like it is going to be technical advice or going to be personal advice, just to encourage them and getting through them good result in an organization. You have to if there is going to be any personal problems for them, you can give them a break or a leave, or you can prepare for some counseling, so you can provide such thing. If there is going to be any technical problem or some problem in the organization, you can speak with that particular employees or the followers. You can ask what their problem is, and you can help to rectify them. Like once they are comfortable, then they'll be gaining more confidence and they'll be listening to your words and they'll be working. Building moral. Moral is expressed as an attitude to employees towards organizational management and voluntary cooperation to offer their ability to the organizations. Maintaining discipline. Discipline is the force that promotes individuals to observe the rules and regulations and procedures. So you have for each and every in the type of industry or type of organization, you have certain specified rules and regulations, procedures, or the methodologies you have, that you have to stick on. Only then you will be able to attain the you'll be able to achieve the target or the finish the goal. And what's the time? Okay, let me stop with this.